Hello and welcome back to Can We Talk with Juel podcast. Guys, it's PI Tuesday. That means you got it. It's exposure season. And we have a commercial break. Oh, I'm so glad for our sponsors. Are you tired of the government tracking your every move? Is your neighbor's smart fridge spying on your keto diet? Introducing the tinfoil tuxedo. Stylish enough for a gala, reflective enough to bounce 6G signals back to the moon. Use code JUEL at fundraisingcup.org to get 10% off your first roll of industrial grade protection. The tinfoil tuxedo, because if you look crazy, they can't recruit you. And we are now circling into targeted individual news. So last week, the TI Tuesday was a hit with special guest Jerome Cummings. It was just groundbreaking, guys. We are exposing the weaponized spirituality and the patterns they don't want you to see. Now, here's another headline that had the timelines in a frenzy. A gunman who killed 2 people at a Texas bar and wounded 14 others was reportedly wearing clothing with religious and national symbolism, according to early law enforcement reports. And before the internet detectives clocked in for their shift, you know they will, let's just pause for a moment, because every time something like this happens, social media immediately jumps to, was it a sleeper cell, foreign actor, government experiment, MK Ultra reboot? Hey, listen, could be all the above for all I know. We don't need conspiracy theories faster than investigators need evidence. For that, you can check out Hidden Frequency. Our brother Thomas will piece this all together for you. Here's what we do know. 2 people lost their lives. 14 others were injured. Families are grieving. Everything else still under investigation. Now, I get it. We live in a time where trust in institutions is low and narratives feel manipulated. But speculation without facts doesn't bring clarity. It brings even more chaos. And chaos is already doing overtime this year. So instead of asking, which secret program did this, maybe we should start asking, why does violence feel so normalized now? Like the whole bullying thing, it's like reached its peak, in my opinion. Why is extremists marketed better than empathy? And why are we always quicker to divide than to demand real solutions? Because sometimes the real issue isn't sleeper cells. It's a society that's exhausted, polarized, and armed. I'm just saying, guys. And we have the male weapon. And what do I mean by that? The Supreme Court just ruled 5-4 that you cannot sue the United States Postal Service for intentionally withholding mail. Justice Sotomayor was livid. This is huge for TIs. Pay attention. They can now legally lose your court evidence, your inheritance, your identity doc, and you have zero liberty. Basically, they can be bribed and get away with it. They've legalized bureaucratic gaslighting, guys, right in front of our face. And we appreciate Justice Sotomayor dissenting because this hits the TI community very hard. Meanwhile, there was a sex trafficking bust in Georgia, Minnesota, and California. And I don't know if you guys are following the Alexander brothers trial, which is ongoing. Stay tuned for more details on that. Kyle Bassinga case ruled suicide by authorities. Community questions still remain. And guys, did you hear about the Columbia Institute leader who resigned over the Epstein ties? Hello and welcome back to Can We Talk with Juel and to the very second edition of TI Tuesday with a special guest. Of course, tonight's conversation may challenge you, it may raise questions, it may even make you uncomfortable. But it is a story that demands to be heard. And our special guest, Mr. Eric Ramirez, identifies himself as a targeted individual, someone who believes he's being watched, monitored, and harassed through coordinated efforts, often referred to as gang stalking. Mr. Ramirez is also experiencing B2K technology, and for those who are unaware as to what that is voice to skull, which refers to a concept involving the transmission of sound, often in the form of spoken words, directly into someone's head using 99 traditional acoustic sound waves. And Mr. Ramirez says it impacts his daily life, online, in public spaces, and even in moments meant to feel private. Some people hear stories like this and immediately think paranoia and schizophrenia, while others hear it and think, could this be a cover-up? But with more recent news cases popping up of individuals randomly shooting facilities, many are now starting to question, especially former military officers, as to what exactly is going on and could cause someone to behave as such. But before judgment comes, there is listening. And this is a two-part series interview. And this episode is not about sensationalism. It's about understanding the human experience behind the claim. What does it feel like to believe you are constantly being observed and experimented on? How does that shape your mental health, relationships, and sense of safety? And in a world where surveillance technology is very real, where does perception meet possibility? On TI Tuesday, we create a space for dialogue, not dismissal, curiosity, not cruelty, critical thinking without dehumanizing the person sharing their truth. So, with that said, Eric, we want to thank him so much for being courageous and stepping into this space to share his story. Let's talk.
Hello, and welcome back to Can We Talk with Juel podcast, proudly sponsored by fundraisingcup.org Ministries. Today, we are here with a dear guest, Mr. Eric Ramirez, who is a targeted individual. And we're so honored to have him on our show today to share some of his experiences in being a targeted individual and things that are currently going on, I guess, behind the veil that many people are unaware of, and we're hoping to expose here on this podcast. So welcome, Eric, and thank you for being on our podcast.
Hey, how you doing, Joel? It was great talking backstage. Got the momentum. I thought we were in the podcast already. You're like, no, we're gonna start now.
Absolutely. Side note, guys, when I talk to the guests backstage before I bring them on board, I kind of build a rapport with them so they get to know me personally. And after talking with Eric, and just validating his story and experiences, I think we built an understanding and connection, and sharing things that we've gone through. And I'm so excited really to have him on board to share his story, because there are many targeted individuals that are timid to share what they've experienced, largely because they don't know who to trust. And I want to applaud Eric today for being courageous and bold in his fight back against those that are trying to silence him and harass him on a daily basis. So,
Well,
Eric,
thank
can you tell us a little about yourself,
Yeah.
please?
I grew up in Los Angeles by South Pasadena. I've always had an aptitude for business and wanting to do better in life. Oh, I have 9%. And so those accessories have always been the minority. But my parents were well off. My parents split when I was young, but my mom was a hardworking single mother. But I knew I always was the outsider looking in, as any minority when they're a kid. So that aptitude led me into life and good work ethics, and then from there, spent a little time in the military. came back home. I think my first business when I was 20, and I've had different businesses since then. The most recent one is Swift Supply Chain Company, Swift Warehouse Services. Also, me and my wife run that. Just got married 2 weeks ago, actually. We have four
Congratulations.
kids we have. I have one with my previous marriage, and yeah, for right now we've just been targeted. The last 4 months, I think we came across a lot of information accidentally, but it wasn't like we were investigating it. It just kind of fell on our lap, and we're just victims of our own environment, really. And
Hmm.
we're back, and we're not scared. I told my handlers, whoever's handling this, we're not. I'm not scared if I have to die to get my voice out there, because I mean, obviously, I don't want to die, but if they're gonna kill me, then I can't help that. That was God's work, and I was sent here to defend that as a spiritual defender, really, of the free world.
That's great. Can you, Eric, tell us how would you define being targeted?
Just a person put on a list maliciously, or could have been accidentally. It could have been in a retaliatory state.
Hmm.
And there's different TIs with different beliefs. I think the
Hmm.
program is ran through different levels where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, here's the paranoia stage, here's the white car stage, here's the harassment. So they better
Hmm.
figure it out fast. And I think each target individual has a capacity and their abilities to figure it out.
Absolutely. So, what stage would you say you believe you're on?
I believe in very vastly. I have really, really intuitive and energy that could see things to the point where I could see my handlers in where they may be, what they're doing, even in some cases what they're wearing. Sounds crazy,
Hmm.
but I can hear in the background actually echoing, because I have a voice to skull technology and BCI is connected where it's mind reading technology, so
Uh-huh.
I could actually communicate with mine. Plus, they did a pretty sloppy job, if you will. So I know they're local people from the U.S. military, and so it was easy to identify them really quickly.
Can you share with us how do you believe you landed on this watch list or targeted list, if you will?
I believe just in a retaliatory, maybe I was out looking for some of my military history on what happened back then or something. I think somebody maybe got news of that, and maybe wanted to put a stop or highness, or a stop to it, really. And they accessed my phone, or not my phone, I don't know, my IP address, which led the handlers to me for a sub rosa investigation. I believe I'm going to a sub rosa investigation, possibly. And usually when there's a sub rosa investigation, gang stalking will heighten that, because if you haven't committed a crime, they have to
Hmm.
manufacture, create.
Yeah, with staged events.
Yeah.
Have you experienced any stage confrontations, issues with law enforcement, things of that nature?
Oh, constantly, yeah, all the time. I was beat up by three kids the other day, staying here in Palm Springs. I don't know, they were possibly with the gangs. I don't know. I can't really pinpoint, and I try to be pretty rational. I can blame everything on gang stalking, but if you don't put a stop to blaming everything on gang stalking, like, they didn't give me the right bread because they're part of the gang stalking. You start going. That's when you start going to the delusional state and just assuming everything. So you have to watch the stages you go through, because you can fall into a category that they wanted you and trapped you to fall into, with a delusion, hypocrisy, empathy, whatever stage, and that's how they control your mind. So you have to be spiritually free minded.